One of the movies coming out this year that a lot of people are sleeping on, and we've talked about this a lot, is Avatar 2. It seems crazy that anybody on the planet with an ounce of common sense would sleep on Avatar 2. By the filmmaker who gave us 2 of the top 3 all-time biggest box office films in history, including the #1 box office film in history. And
2 of the greatest in Aliens and Terminator 2, and arguably
one
the
of the
Terminator.
greatest sci-fi filmmakers ever in history.
And True Lies, one of the great action filmmakers of all time.
Is James Cameron. And you'd think it would be, and of course the original film remains to this day the #1 all-time box office film in history.
But
and
John, it's Fern Gully and Dances with Wolves in
it's
Space.
Dances with Wolves in Space, and it kind of is, but that didn't change the fact that it got nominated for Best Picture. It's a very good movie, and it's the #1 box office film of all time. It's folly to sleep on this. It is folly to sleep on Avatar. It is folly to sleep on James Cameron. Is this movie coming 7 years late? Yes, it absolutely is. No doubt about it. Should this movie have come out a long time ago? Yes, absolutely. Is this movie going to be a $2 billion movie like the last one was? I doubt it. But this thing's going to be big. It's going to be big and it's going to be huge. And now we're hearing some firsthand reports on the ground. Is Zoe Saldana, who of course right now can be seen with Ryan Reynolds in The Atom Project right now. And then we're going to be seeing her again in Guardians of the Galaxy again, coming up here pretty soon. Zoe Saldana was chatting a little bit about her experience, and she said this thing has brought her to tears. She said she was watched 20 minutes of the film, and it has already brought her to tears. This comes to us from the folks over at Variety, and they write the following. Get this. Zoe Saldana has a message for moviegoers ahead of the release of Avatar 2 this December. It's definitely a leap from the first Avatar, so you have to brace yourself for it. It's going to be an adventure you won't forget. James Cameron has spent well over a decade developing the sequel, a decade too long, developing the sequel to his record-breaking Avatar, which will once again star Saldana and Sam Worthington. This is what she goes on to say. I can get choked up just talking about it, Saldana told reporter Kevin McCarthy via People magazine about the Avatar sequel. I was able to see just 20 minutes of the second installment right before the year ended last year, and I was speechless. I was moved to tears. Now look, obviously, newsflash, actor in movie says their new movie is good. In other words, water wet. Like, of course, we understand
And in this
that.
version of Avatar, water is indeed wet.
Water
John.
is definitely wet. In this world of water, it is definitely wet. So obviously, yes. However, Zoe Saldana has not been one to be prone to grand gestures of hyperbole like some actors are. And some actors are totally understandably do, because your job is to promote your movies. But she said a couple of interesting things there. One, she said that this one is a leap beyond the first Avatar. Avatar is the biggest film of all time. It was a cultural phenomenon. Like, what exactly does she mean by it is a leap beyond the first Avatar? Then phrases like, it has left me speechless. I start to cry just thinking about it. I watched 20 minutes of it, and it moved me to tears. I mean, again, her exact quote is, I get choked up just talking about the movie. It is going to be an adventure you will not forget. And again, we say this all, Rob, with the understanding, actor in movie claims their movie is good. Wow. Never would have thought that would happen. But still, this is pretty big talk. I mean, these are high bars she's setting. Rob, you hear what Zoe Saldana is saying. What's your thought on Avatar 2 right now? It's finally getting closer, provided it doesn't get delayed for a 15th time. But it's in sight now. It's coming this December. What do you make of all this?
You know, a while back, I revisited the director's cut of The Abyss.
Oh, love that movie.
Which I have on DVD. They released it on DVD. It hasn't come out. James, where is The Abyss on 4K? But anyway, so that film is virtuoso. It came out in '88. Virtuoso filmmaking on display. and it's a taste. Obviously, it's set in an underwater oil drilling derrick. And there's a scene where Ed Harris has to take Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio out into the open ocean and transport her over into another pod. This dam, if you haven't seen it, this undersea, I don't want to ruin anything, but there's an incredibly emotional scene where a character may or may not have died. And there's real human emotion and pathos. And the way that Ed Harris and Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio played it, it's incredibly moving and it's incredibly engaging from an emotional standpoint. So people forget that James Cameron can elicit that kind of emotion as well. I don't doubt her. I mean, actor in movie thinks movie's good. But in terms of James Cameron, in terms of his milieu being under, he clearly he's made documentaries. He's gone down to the bottom of the Marianas Trench. The guy loves the ocean. And I'm sure the perspective that we're going to get in this movie is going to be breathtaking. Absolutely breathtaking. There is no doubt in my mind that whatever he has dished up for Avatar 2, it's going to be exactly the way she says. I don't know if I'm going to cry in 20 minutes. It takes a little bit more. Spock has to die to get me to cry in a movie. Just saying. But I think it could happen.
I hesitate to ask, but I got to ask Ray. Did you see the first Avatar?
I don't know what Robin's talking about. Yes, I did. I saw it, I think 2 times. Just because, yes, even with the glasses off, I fell asleep. It was too somber. Like during times where I think it was I fell asleep when they were in that like that pond where the guy and the girl were in that like
I know the scene you're talking about. Yeah.
Purplish thing.
I think that's where the flowers were starting to bloom and things like that. Yeah.
So then I went back the next week and I went in late and finished it. And I thought as a 2-parter, it was okay. It was okay. I mean, it was a spectacle. I mean, I remember both times the theater was packed each time. So I just thought this would come sooner.
Do you have any excitement for an Avatar 2 right now? Like when you think Avatar 2, does it get your heart pounding or you're like,
No, not until maybe the week before it. Because who knows? It's going to get postponed again.
I know. I mean, but in all seriousness, all joking aside, this is a movie that I think broke 3 not just release dates, release years.
Yeah.
3 times it moved out of the year that it was going to come eventually. I think we're going to be able to tell a lot when the first trailer comes.
Yep.
I mean, that's when we're going to find out really. Because everybody can say right now, oh, Pshaw. I mean, it's the cool thing to dismiss and crap on Avatar these days. That makes you a cool kid if you do. But the real test will come when that first trailer comes. Because we may see that first trailer and go, meh. Or we're going to see really what the public's reaction is going to be to it.
What this movie needs to do, if the special effects work, is if it terrifies me, because I'm terrified of the middle of the ocean. So if that water makes me sick, the effects of the water make me sick, then it's got to be really good. I don't know. I don't know how you feel about water or the ocean, but ugh.
I like it.
All right, guys.
Do you swim in the ocean?
Question is for you. What do you think about this? Zoe Saldana saying that this movie moves you to tears. It is a leap beyond the original Avatar. Where are you? Like, hey, listen, it's been a long time since that first movie came out. Maybe you've got no enthusiasm left at this point. Maybe you're dying to see it. Whatever you guys are thinking, jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. We want to take a moment and thank the sponsor of this video, ExpressVPN. Now, guys, does it make sense that the same company who controls half the online retail also passively eavesdrops on your private conversations at home? Or what about the idea that a single company controls 90% of the internet searches, runs your email service, and gets to track everything you do on your smartphone? You guys know that big tech is more powerful than most countries are, and they profit by exploiting your personal data. It's time to put a layer of protection between your online activity and these tech juggernauts, and that's why I use ExpressVPN. You see, when you run ExpressVPN on your device, the software hides your IP address, something that big tech companies can use to personally identify you. So ExpressVPN makes your activity harder to trace and sell to advertisers. ExpressVPN also encrypts 100% of your internet data to keep you safe from hackers and eavesdroppers on your network. So stop handing over your personal data to the big tech monopoly that mines your activity and sells your information. Protect yourself with the VPN that I trust to keep me safe online. Visit expressvpn.com/Campea. That's expressvpn.com/Campea to get 3 extra months free. Go to expressvpn.com/Campea right now to learn more.